There is a future for software. You know that. The question that every software engineer is thinking right now is if there's a future for software engineers with ever more capable AI on the horizon. And how can we prepare for that future? I have a perspective, and it's not based on speculation of how quickly the frontier of AI capabilities will arrive, but the nature of human-AI symbiosis. The role of software engineers will change. That is obvious. And here's how I think you can prepare for that future. My name is Derick Chen, and this is BuildWithDC. Okay, so people are saying that AI will be able to completely replace software engineers and all other job functions in the software development process. Yes, I think that will happen eventually. To some extent, that is already happening today. Simple demos with most basic integrations of a few libraries and frameworks can already be executed flawlessly and consistently by generative AI coding assistants. And I believe AI will be able to take on increasingly higher order complexity tasks as we invent new architecture and integrations. But there are many reasons why I think we still have a long road ahead of us before that day comes. I will cover those in another video here, but we are speeding down that road. If you consider the amount of progress in generative AI from 2015 to 2022, and map that same progress from 2022 to 2025 in the trajectory, it will look exponential. And specific to software engineering, if we just consider the amount of progress we've made on the SWE benchmark in the last 2 years alone, from just 3% to 50%, it is absolutely astounding. So what should you, someone with a software engineer in your job title, do in 2025 to prepare for the future? If you're still spending most of your time writing code, you need to start looking at systems design. Traditionally, this is the new skill requirement when you get promoted to a senior or a lead position. But the act of writing source code that is closely scoped and strongly structured grammatically will be disrupted by AI more and more. AI agents now have the ability to independently execute code, and they can close the loop on those well-defined programming tasks. That gives you the opportunity to elevate yourself and start looking at designing complex systems way earlier in your career than you would have 10 years ago. The realm of software systems design is a lot more fluid and less structured. There are nuances, trade-offs, and performance requirements that are hard to quantify and to be expressed in words. That's why as an AWS software architect today, I am most valued for simplifying problem statements and teaching my customers the art of approaching the design problem. It's not very different from what you do at the source code level. You are familiar with arrays and hash maps, and you will be introduced to different types of compute platforms and distributed technologies. The tools have changed, but the engineering mindset stays the same. I talked about how AI will be taking charge in programming and in writing code. But one important job that I believe you still have to do in this AI-driven software world is to read code. Even before AI, we already said that code is written once and read many times. But with AI, you most likely won't even be writing those lines of code. As companies rush to optimize software delivery time without caring so much about engineering quality, I foresee software engineers becoming the gatekeepers of production. You will spend more time in code review and approving code that is generated by AI. Again, this is something that you traditionally start to do more as you become more experienced and tenured. So in a way, AI is actually accelerating your career again. And this is not a trivial task. Reading, comprehending, and critiquing code that's not written by you is a lot harder. We know that. But instead of maybe needing to review 300 lines of worth of PR a day in the past, AI can generate that in a minute. So you need to be knowledgeable about the various programming features that AI may use, patterns that may be adopted without explanation. It is your job to reject AI drafted PRs. If this important gatekeeping task is not performed or enforced properly, then congratulations. Your organization is now 10 times more productive at writing bad software. The last thing I will mention today is to improve your communication skills. Communication in words. Properly and concisely formed sentences. Many software engineers I've worked with today struggle with effective communication. This was bad before AI, when misunderstandings between people created friction. With AI, bad communication will land you in the abyss of eternal, frustrating invocation loops. You'll be wondering why the capable GenAI is not able to comprehend what you're trying to get it to do. If the future of AI still depends on written language as the method of communication, then it is absolutely vital for you to be fluent in hydrating the ideas in your head using words. You will need to write instructionally. It does take some practice, but now is the time to start. As you interact with LLMs more and more, you will learn certain patterns that are effective. You will also need to write concisely. With how quickly AI can execute the task you assign to it, you don't want to spend even more time and keystrokes defining what a task is. In Amazon, we have a memo writing culture where you are strictly limited by the length of the document, depending on the scope and the purpose. This is a very good mechanism to sharpen your thinking and writing process, to naturally cut off fluff, and to become a more effective communicator over time. We are still in the early days of learning how to work with GenAI and LLMs. And I'm already seeing some significant skill-based limitations of how well current software engineers can work together with generative AI. The role will evolve, and you should too. My name is Derick Chen. Thanks for watching. I will see you in the next video.